Let's just chat it up about how I actually publish so many books in a short amount of time. Some people will say, man, I can't even get one book out. But once I figured out the formula that worked for me, then I just said, okay, I can publish as many books as I want. If I get the price that I want, if I produce the product, then I have a book. If you start doing your first one and it just gets really stressful, well, that's normal. Once you do your first book, you've got all that experience under your belt, and then the next one will be easier, and then the one after that, and the one after that. Because by then, you'll have a person or people that really have held your hand. You can count on them, you can trust them to either from typing your manuscript, editing it, laying out, designing your color, illustrating your book, making sure that you have an ISBN number, there's pictures, photographs that need to be taken, those types of things. There's so many different components to a book. And so once you're comfortable with the people that are on your team that are going to make sure this book is a success and get to the marketplace, then there's no way that you cannot produce another book. My first book that most people know about is Mrs. Eel's Basement of Beautiful and Magical Things. Now, that's not my very first book, but that's a book that most people know me by because that's when I really started getting into intense marketing and learning how to tell people about my book and actually doing storytelling to accompany my book. So once I did that, but it took me like 2 years to do it. And it was one reason was is I was scared to release the book. It's like, oh my gosh, okay, I got to go back and read this draft. I don't even know how many drafts I had, but it was more than normal. And then, you've got stacks of paper because I come from the generation where you had a tangible piece of paper. It's like, I need to print all this out and I need to go through it and mark all my little marks on it like I'm a teacher here, right? So once I had the person or the people and I felt really comfortable with all the different components, it's like, let's go. Let's do another book and let's do another book. Now, some people may question why I do different genres of books. So I have poetry, I have a little novelette, which is like nonfiction, and then I have some fiction as well. So I do what comes to spirit. And I'm not going to say that I'm an expert at doing all these different genres, but I know that I am a poet. I can tell short stories. So my books are mostly that. They're short stories compiled, different little stories that I've experienced throughout my life, and also, poetry is just, it is what it is. It's like what you're experiencing in the moment. And so it can be long or it can be short. So these different types of writing compiled together can make a book. So this is one way where I'm able to just write books. I compile stories, and some of them are very intriguing, and so it makes for a perfect book, right? I will say that the little novelette that I did, which took me the longest, I had to do a lot of research for that. And that was a struggle for me because I wasn't used to doing that. So, you could pick a genre that's really, it just doesn't jive with who you are. You're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. And then you get into it and it's just like, okay, I've got to learn how to do this in order to get this book out. So, there was that, right? And that's probably another reason why my book took so long, that particular book. But now I have a strategy. I don't let the information that I have hold me back. I say, okay, this is the information that I have. What other information can I put with this book to make it a book? And then I start thinking about all the other components that go into the book to make it what I want it to be. Then I will give it to the editor and I will say, okay, here's my book. Let me know what you think. She will give me back information and then I'll work on that, right? She'll give me the feedback. I'll go and I'll do some more work and then I'll bring it back to her. And then in the end, I will ask her, okay, hey, I want this to be the best it can possibly be. Please just look at it and give me your honest opinion. I value your opinion because she's been doing this a lot longer than me and I trust her. I value her opinion. So, in putting out my books, I don't worry about what people are going to say, whether they like it or not. I write books and I really write them for myself. I know my book is going to help someone, so I'm not really worried about that, but I'm writing my thoughts, my feelings, and I'm putting it out into the universe. And yes, hopefully someone will get help from it, but it's really for me and my joy. Getting my words down on paper, and then I say, hey, here it is. If you'd like to read it, if you'd like to have a copy of my book. And so, this is just the way that I do it, but I'm able to produce more books than average because I'm not worried about what other people think. I'm not worried about what people feel about the content of what I'm writing. I just produce the book. Whether somebody likes it or not, I can't worry about that. I have to do what brings me joy. And so this is just, a strategy or strategies that help me. And I really rely on my person, my editor person, to help me in the final stages of my book. I don't even question her, like if she tells me, well, this part doesn't really jive. I'm like, okay, let's take that part out, because if it doesn't make sense, we don't want it to be in there, right? It's just like, why do you have this whole part in here? It doesn't go with the book. So I trust her. And so that's where you want to get to with whoever your person is, whoever has been holding your hand. Be able to trust that person. If you feel like you cannot trust your editor or your layout and design person or whoever it is, then get you another person, because you really want that. You want someone who genuinely enjoys books. They want to see you win. So they're looking out for you as if it was their book, right? So I hope this helped you. This was a little longer than normal, but I just wanted you to know that you can write books and you can write as many books as you want to. You've got stuff to say, and we're just waiting to hear it. Take care.